it's not built for everyone, and not everyone will get what they wanted. That's life. But I guess as long as you're enjoying the journey, then that's enough. And don't feel like you're entitled to anything, because like, nobody's entitled to anything, and nobody owes you anything, really. So just wake up in the morning, show up, do your job, and get ready to sacrifice a lot.
Welcome to The Story Thinker, a Webtoons and Witcher podcast for superfans with scene-by-scene analysis. Featuring sharp co-hosts for a fuller picture, we dive deep into character psychology, relationships, and theories. We'd love it if you could like, subscribe, comment, and rate us on all podcast platforms and social media. For bonus content, you can support The Story Thinker on Patreon. Let's begin. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our third interview with our third Witcher. And today we're here with Max Kraus, who played 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 on The Witcher, and also has a bunch of other cool experiences that he can talk about, and some maybe that he can't talk about yet. So welcome, Max.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, Max and I just had a whole conversation in Hebrew, which was very cool because, Max, do you want to tell us where you're from and a little bit of your background?
Sure. So yes, we were speaking in Hebrew. I'm born and raised from Israel, Eilat. And yeah, I was born to a Native American mother and a German father. So it allowed me to also practice and speak a lot in English growing up, but I am fluent in Hebrew, which we had a fantastic and lovely time. Such a long time since I've spoken Hebrew, like I mentioned earlier, but it was great. That was great.
ושלום לכל האנשים כל הישראלים וכל הדוברי עברית, שלום לכולם.
שלום לכולם.
I just realized I didn't ask if you also speak German. I'm assuming you do.
Nein.
No. Your father was negligent.
My father, I mean, he was on and off throughout my childhood, so he didn't really stick around enough time to speak the language, unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
I think I turned out all right. My mother's strong. Raised 4 boys by herself, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so I guess tell me more about that. When you were a little kid growing up in Eilat, and by the way, Eilat is a beautiful city. It's like the vacation city in Israel. What did you think you were going to do growing up? What did you want to do growing up?
Wow. So yeah, Eilat is, like you said, a beautiful country. It's the beach city of Israel to me. It's right on the border of Egypt and Jordan, Sinai there, of course. And growing up, I did a lot of surfing. So I was pretty much a beach bum, from school to the beach. Maybe sometimes I didn't even go home. I just stayed on the seaside. But I loved action movies growing up. And I loved sword play. So I used to, my mom hated it, but I used to take the broomsticks and unplug like the brush part of it and just practice with the broomstick on the rooftops and in my hometown, in my house. And I didn't know exactly what I wanted to be, honestly. I think everybody was like that at the time, growing up, of course. But I knew that I wanted to get into like movies and the movie industry. Again, where or what, I have no idea. So
was that ever something that was it in your family? Did you know anybody who was in the movie industry?
Nobody. My father was a lot in like a stockbroker, I guess, and accounting. And my mother was a teacher, kindergarten teacher. And so, yeah, I mean, I bounced around from a lot of things. Obviously, a very fitness childhood. So basketball player, I was swimming. With also like being in high school, I volunteered in the fire department. So I was very active. But also,
what can you do as a high schooler in the fire department?
Help putting out fires.
Oh, I didn't know they take high schoolers.
Yeah, it was like a 3-year volunteer program, which not a lot of people in my school and my class finished. They started, but I just loved it. So I spent a lot of my times after high school, if not at the beach, then at the fire department. And yeah, not that I thought that I would be a firefighter at all, but I just loved that community. It was male structure, which I think I was missing a lot growing up. Obviously, like I had my 3 older brothers, were all men, but I didn't have like that fatherly type, you could say.
Mm.
So I loved it. I was obsessed, like being there. And that also led me get to a CrossFit team, which I fell in love in the world of fitness, health and fitness, which led me into the military. So,
well, I think everyone has to go there anyway, so you would have gone there whether or not you were into fitness.
that is true. It is mandatory in Israel. But yeah, I think even if it wasn't mandatory, I think I would still go for it, of course. I had a lot of friends in the military at the time, so it was very important to me. How all this connecting to the industry, I have no idea, but I think we'll see where it goes. So yes.
I think that's the interesting part, is not everybody grows up thinking, oh, I'm going to do this and, have a direct path and like go to acting school and get a job in acting right away. I think a lot of people have a very circuitous path into whatever they're doing, whether it's acting or anything else that they do.
Yes, that is true. 100%. Absolutely correct. But yeah, but throughout this entire time, I was always like, I loved movies. Like I went to the movie theater, I just remembered lines for no freaking reason. So yeah, during the military time, I served a little bit over 3 years in a special unit, in a counterterrorism unit. And throughout that time, again, movies was my thing. And when I left my service, or when I finished my service back in 2017, I packed my backpack and flew to the States. And
Had you been to the States before? Like, wow, it was your first time. Okay.
Yeah, I'm an American citizen, which helped me get into the country very easily, but I was never in the States. So packed my backpack and flew to the States. Which actually, no, before that, I was actually like, I finished my service and I was doing obviously security work. So I got into the world of security, and not a huge fan of math, but I studied math for a little while.
Yeah. Me neither. I can barely count.
But and then I became a certified instructor for the 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗰𝗸, which is the International 𝗪𝗁𝗃 Federation. So
which is a type of martial arts.
Yes, which is a self-defense. We do not consider it a martial art.
Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, so with that experience and with that certification, and I flew to the States, and the first state which I landed was Florida. And in Florida, I was actually, I wouldn't say in the pursuit, but I was kind of getting into the world of the sheriff's department, being a police officer in Florida, or sheriffs. And but Hurricane Irma hit us there. So it's 2018, I think, end 2017, 18. And I figured, yeah, I don't know. And I guess that was a sign that sent me away from Florida. So from Florida, I moved to New York. And in New York, I didn't really like it. I was there for literally like 9 or 10 days, and it was too crowded for me. And coming from a country where I like my distance,
right?
Like being safe. So from New York,
I'm from New York City, and one of the things I realized is that I can't be in a place that's too quiet. Because I live in the suburbs now, but like I just have to be close to the city.
I see. Okay. Oh, suburbs are fantastic. I love that. And so yeah, so New York didn't really get along, so I flew to Los Angeles. And in Los Angeles, again, I didn't know anybody.
What made you choose Los Angeles?
Again, something was calling me towards like movies or movie making, but I didn't do anything about it. So and it was on my mind, yes, while I was in Florida, yes, while I was in New York, but I was like, okay, where to next? So it was like either Atlanta or Los Angeles. And I love the beach, I love the sun. So I was like, let's go to the West Coast. So I flew to Los Angeles, to Hollywood, and I lived in WeHo for a little bit. And what helped me was the Jewish community, obviously in Los Angeles and around Beverly Hills. So I became an instructor to a few clients in Beverly Hills, just bouncing from house to house.
Fitness instructor or Krav Maga instructor?
Yes, a self-defense Krav Maga instructor. And then I finally got into an acting class, Stella Adler.
Okay, yeah. That I've
And
heard of, as much as I'm
yeah,
a fight. I have heard of Stella Adler.
yes, which was great. It was a great opportunity and a great experience there. I met so many interesting people, and
How long is the class, and what is it? What does it teach you?
well, what it teaches an interesting, but what it allowed me to do was at the time open up, which was very difficult for me to do.
Mm.
Coming also with my service experience and being an instructor, you kind of have this like stigma, I guess, or this characteristic where it's very strict, it's to the point, and like don't ask me questions and just get on with your life.
Yeah.
But what that allowed me, that classes, at least those few classes, I wasn't there for a semester or a course or a seminar or anything like that, or a year, what a lot of people did at the time, a 3-year course. It allowed me to open up and to kind of, I wouldn't say feel ashamed, but to feel secure and just talking. Even if it's just like right now, I'm mumbling and I'm sorry, but I'm just like, talking, which has helped me a lot to do.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought of that, because I kind of always assumed that people who are into acting are already comfortable showing emotions, but that's interesting that you couldn't and that you had to open up.
Yes, definitely. That, yes. And yeah, so that got me into my first play, which was Shakespeare, _𝗵𝗲𝗰𝗵𝗲, and that
You auditioned, or somebody you knew from class was part of production?
Just from people from class, knew about this play that was happening down in San Pedro, not even in Los Angeles. And it took me to San Pedro, I would say 2-3 times a week, and I was performing there on stage.
So which character did you play?
Oh my God. Warwick? Is that a character? I forgot.
Okay, I should know this, because I'm an English major and I'm ostensibly a literature snob, but I haven't read Shakespeare since high school. I really shouldn't admit this, but yes. I
think it was Warwick. I don't remember. But what I do remember was there was a drive-by at the theater, and I was the first one to engage. So I got out of the theater department, I opened the doors, secured the area, I shut the doors, locked the windows, kept everybody inside.
a drive-by shooting. Oh, okay. I didn't. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, yes, that makes a lot of sense given your background.
Yeah. So that part triggered in me, which again, I was very secure in that guy. I wouldn't say I was too secure and open just yet, even with my few Stella Adler classes. But yeah, so that play led me to meet one of the guys who was renting out a place in WeHo in Hollywood, by the name of William. And I went to William's place to see his apartment, but again, it was too small for me, and I wanted a place for myself. So I thanked him for his time, but it wasn't going to work out. And he was working as an assistant for Millennium Films, which is a film production company who produced Rambo, Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. At the time, Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, the first one, the second one hasn't been out yet. And Angel Has Fallen, all the Fallen franchise, London Has Fallen, Olympic Has Fallen, Angel Has Fallen. So I met him, and he was going to leave that position to work for Netflix, because it was a full-time job for Netflix. And Millennium could only offer him like a part-time job. And I was like, that sounds great. And so he was like, and he only knew me for like a day, for a couple of hours even. And he knew that I'm Israeli, and because the owner of the Millennium, Avi Lerner, is an Israeli and a former paratrooper. And he dropped my name in, knowing that I'm Israeli, I'm young, and I'm willing to work. So he dropped my name in, and then he quit and left to Netflix. And then literally the following day, I'm down in San Pedro doing the play, and I get a phone call coming for an interview to work for Millennium as an assistant. And I'm like, wow, that was quick.
That was.
So the following day, I go on an interview, and I meet 𝗪𝘁𝗰𝗵𝗏 Goldman, who's a very, very dear friend to me, and Avi Lerner, who's fantastic, like my father figure. and I was his assistant and driver, and I was with him every day for about, I'd say, close to a year. I want to say a year and a half, maybe. And after that time,
what did you do as his assistant, and like what did you learn while you were doing that?
Oh my, so many things behind the scenes, which is so useful, I think, to know. Who's ever watching this and is also interested in the industry, it's good to know many areas in the industry and not like focusing mainly on one thing. But it hurts less, I think. Also, if you focus on one thing, you don't get it. But it's good to know a little bit about the big tree of this gigantic industry that we're working in. But yeah, I was driving him to meetings. I was meeting a lot of interesting people, learning a lot about how the very beginning parts of even thinking about making a movie, which it goes so far back. Like, I know there were movies that were talking years about before they even started, seeing money put into the movie, which is fantastic. It just shows the commitment of these people that are really willing to do this work. And yeah, besides that, obviously, like getting more involved with him and with the lifestyle in Los Angeles and everything. So
what's the lifestyle in Los Angeles? Because I'm curious. I mean, it has a reputation, so I'm curious what you thought of it coming from a different place.
It's great. Los Angeles is a very interesting place. Love the sunny side of it. That was where it got me. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I don't know. if it's a type of place where you want to check out first, I can't say anything about it. Here's a funny story. First time I ever landed in Hollywood, I had my suitcase, and I landed in LAX, and I took a bus from LAX to WeHo. And as soon as I got off the bus, I have my luggage, I have my suitcase and my carry-on, and I look around and I see so many people with suitcases and luggage. And I'm like, wow, everybody decided to move to Hollywood today. But no, there were so many people living on the streets, unfortunately. And they were just moving from one corner to the next. And that took me so much, like, by surprise. You think Hollywood and like the Walk of Fame, and it's all sunshine and rainbows, but I'm not a negative person, but yeah, you have to check it out. You have to check it out for yourselves. Yeah. So coming back to Millennium Films, after working in the office for a while, he sent me to my first movie, which was a movie called The Outpost with Orlando Bloom and Scott Eastwood. And this was shooting in Bulgaria, where I discovered that Millennium owns a studio out in Bulgaria where they shoot all of their action movies.
Yeah, I saw you were in Bulgaria recently on your Instagram.
Yes, I was. So Bulgaria is like my second home, honestly. I love it there, and the people there who I got to meet through Millennium that work at Ljubljana, fantastic. And they hold such a dear place in my heart. And yeah, so my first movie out there was The Outpost, where I was mainly like behind the scenes, like in production. So I wasn't being sent there to do anything at all, because I didn't know yet also what I could offer. So I get to set and I see people in marine uniform, costumes, of course, and they're running around, doing something that I know what to do. And I came from this literally like with experience from the field. So I'm like, wow. And what department is this? What area is this? Because they weren't all actors, but the majority of them were stunt performers. So I was like, okay, here I could help out here. So I asked one of the executive producers, Yoni, who was there on the field, like on set, that I knew very well from Los Angeles, could I come in like as a stunt performer? And he was like, yeah, be careful what you wish for. Let's put you in hair and makeup. So he put me in a Taliban outfit. It was very interesting.
Because you're dark skin, so like, there you go, Taliban.
Bingo. And also I had pretty long hair at the time. On The Witcher, I had very long hair. but also I didn't want to cut it for one day as a Marine soldier. So he put me and yeah, we got shot at and blown up, and I had to play the part as a Taliban. So that opportunity allowed me to meet a very good dear friend, Greg Powell, who's a stunt coordinator, and he brought me to the following movie, which was also produced by Millennium, called Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, which was shot in Bulgaria and in Croatia and in London. And that just led me on a snowball to get more involved into like the stunt world. But also I found opportunities where it was a stunt character, which allowed me to act as well. So 𝗪𝗁𝗪, of course, was a stunt performer, was a stunt character. I didn't speak at all. I ate a lot on set, but but yeah, hopefully in the following series, then you will see 𝗪𝗪𝗪 speaking and kicking ass, which would be fantastic. But you will see in a few movies coming out, hopefully this year or next year. Then the reason I was back in Bulgaria was because I was on a Disney movie called The Princess with Joaquin. And yeah, so I got there a role where I'm speaking, of course, but it also involved a lot of action, which is fantastic. So I'm trying to find.
You said Princess, is it? I have very limited taste in movies. Like I looked up your filmography, and it's probably all action, and I don't watch action at all. So the title Princess sounds like it might be something I watch. What is it about?
So Joey King, who's a fantastic actress, and who I met on set, it's about a princess. She's playing the princess of the movie. I can't say much because it's not out yet. The trailer's not even out yet, but it's on my like IMDb and Wikipedia. So the movie is out in a way, like that we should know that it's coming, but I can't share much.
Okay,
but
I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, so with that, so before The Princess, even there was a movie in Bulgaria called 𝗠𝘅𝗀𝗀, starring Daniel Sandberg. So it was I think it was a short film back in 2006, I want to say, that he shot, created, edited, starred, and produced all in his backyard, in his garage with a green screen. And it's a short film on YouTube, about 30 something minutes. And he made it into a feature film, which is amazing. It's starring him, of course, Michael Fassbender, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it'll be a great movie because. And the reason that's such an important movie in my upcoming or in my career is because the people who made that movie are the people who are back with me on the show that I'm on right now. So that's how kind of that works, you know. They see you, you know, and they want you like as part of the team. And obviously, if you're more of a team player and you're a collaborator, which the military helps me loads, obviously. You're not a one-man army. This is not Rambo. Then you'll continue to work, which is fantastic. I'm very blessed, very lucky.
And I'm sure, like you were saying before, I'm sure attitude has a lot to do with it. Like if you're a pleasant person to work with, they want to work with you again.
That is also true. That is also very true. Which is something I learned from the teacher in the 𝗪𝗪𝗪. You know, like. And it's also something that's very important from there was an interview, I believe, for like the Navy SEALs. I forgot the name of this gentleman, but he was measuring like the value of the people or the types of people that were selected into like the elites, like the Navy SEALs or the Marines. And he preferred a person who had less like physicality, but more trustworthy than the person who has more physicality but less trust.
Yeah.
So like you could always build your physicality as a team player and like help each other out, but that trust thing is so much more important to have when somebody's right behind you or somebody's right in front of you, like having your back. So so that's a big thing also, and same in the industry, because you're a part of a team, you're part of a family that's trying to create something beautiful, hopefully. And yeah, you have to be part of the team player, because otherwise you're a nudnik.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So what kind of stunts were you doing in all the previous films that you've done?
Nothing too extreme. Not yet. On Hitman was such a fun time because we didn't even, like, I don't even consider this work, you know. I'm literally like going and having a blast, having a great time. And so on Hitman, we were, I think, four days in Croatia, summertime, riding on jet skis, getting flown off into the water.
You usually pay to do that as opposed to getting
paid. Yes. So we were chasing in the scene. Obviously, they were chasing the stunt performers, Ryan Reynolds and Samuel Jackson. So they're on a boat and they're being chased by us on jet skis, and they're firing back at us while they're having their small talk in the movie, and we're just getting headshots, getting flown in the water, just having fun under masks. So we're smiling, but they can't see it. Yeah, so that was, I guess, the most fun. Challenging, I'd say the princess, and not because it was a challenging stunt, but because I was performing with a broken foot.
What?
And, yeah.
I do break a foot. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised since you do stunts, but
it wasn't even on a stunt gig. It was just an accident.
Don't tell me you were like falling, just walking in your house and tripped. Really? Oh,
I wasn't in my house, but I was walking outside. It was on set, so I was just walking outside, just getting some air, and I was just looking outside just for a split second. But there was a little bit of a curve in the ground, and my foot just fell right in there, and just whapa, and it just tore out the top of my foot, like the bones on the top of my foot.
Oh.
And yeah, instantly it started swelling up, and they rushed me to the hospital, and I'm in costume.
What were you wearing?
I made the day of the people at the hospital there, but so I found it very interesting. But yeah,
their entertainment.
Exactly. So this was 5 days before I had my scene to do with Joey King, like my acting scene, which I was so ready for, so prepared, and I put so many months already into this movie because I was also part of the stunt team to get this part, you know. So I was like offering my services as a stunt performer because I love swords, like I mentioned earlier, with the broomstick on the rooftops of my home. So I became, I wouldn't say expert, but I was better with sword work. So I offered those abilities in order to get this role to act with Joey. So this was 5 days before my scene, and I wasn't gonna just give it up.
Oh, boy.
So the doctor recommended me like 3 to 4 weeks doing nothing. I said, thank you for your time and goodbye. So I put on 3 socks on my right foot, strapped it up with tape, creams, numbing cream, just performed and limped to set. As soon as I heard action, that's it, we go, we're all in, no matter what, which again, obviously military helped me out extremely.
Oh. But did you have to do any stunts on the broken leg, or it was just normal walking?
Oh, yeah. Fighting, jumping up and down, falling.
Wow.
Yeah.
How's your foot now?
Much better, thank God, much better, because the project after that one, the movie after that was Luther with Idris Elba, which was shot here in London. Hopefully coming out either this year or no, I'd say next year. Next year it'll be coming out. And yeah, so that position, that job wasn't too extreme for me, so it kind of allowed me to heal, which was fantastic. It was my rehab, you could say. So I'm very grateful for Idris for allowing me to heal during that job and also still work. So, but yeah, I was a stunt performer on that movie as well, which not too many action bits for myself. So yes, so I'd say not an extreme stunt, but that was definitely the most challenging one. Just jumping around and fighting Joey and Veronica with a sword and a broken foot.
That's crazy. I mean, when it comes out, I will look for it and I'll see if I can detect anything.
Yeah, of course. You told me. You see me limping. I mean, I was playing a character who was getting his ass kicked, so it kind of worked.
I guess at some point it would be appropriate for you to limp after you got your ass kicked.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think you mentioned before how you got into The Witcher. I think you said you worked with some people who worked in The Witcher or something. How did that happen?
So The Witcher was also a fantastic opportunity for me. Played 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀 in season 2. How did I get on that? So I knew the stunt coordinator for the show and one of the producers for the show who worked with me on another movie in the past.
Which ones? Because I follow a lot of these people on Instagram, so I'm curious if they're one of the people that I follow.
𝗪𝗁𝗲𝗀𝗀 was a stunt coordinator.
Yep, I've seen him.
And of course, my dear friend, 𝗪𝗁𝗲𝗀. Not sure if you're going to watch this, but
Sorry, Matt, what?
O'Toole. He's one of the producers. And they so they reached out to me for season 2 to come in and help with stunts with the stunt team, and also get to know. It was my first time working in London, so also to get to know the ground, I guess. Also a very good opportunity for me, and get to know the countryside area, Reading, and yes, that's neighborhood. And so Adam brought me to the team, and I didn't even know what exactly he wanted me to do or wanted of my services. Like, I didn't know what I could offer him, but I knew that it was like involved a lot of action and sword work and spear work and axe work. So I was like, okay, cool, maybe I could help out with that.
Did you know what the show was, or you didn't even get a name yet?
No, I didn't. So when I got to the studio, and Arborfield, that's the name, Arborfield Studios, and they were looking for faces to play Witchers, because there was this big scene where Geralt comes back home, and he meets his father, 𝗪𝗪𝗲𝗀, who was a very, very, very nice guy, I love him, and who played our father, and all of the Witcher brothers. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So I sent in my headshot, my face to the casting and to the producers of the show, and I get approved to play one of the Witchers. Wow. Again, I had no idea like who am I or what's background or anything, because I just thought, okay, I'm playing a Witcher that fights, because it's a stunt role. That's what they were searching for. They wanted actors that could perform stunts.
Did you know the Witcher franchise before? Like, had you played the game or read the books or anything?
No. Sorry to all the Witcher fans out there, but no, I didn't. I knew Henry, and I love Superman. And yeah, so that led into, I'd say, about a year where I was very blessed also to work with the other stunt actors like Joel and Joel and Nick, who's great friends now after that show, and they brought me in for several weeks, I'd say 2 months, and we didn't even get a chance to shoot yet, because it was a time where Corona was really serious, and almost every day, like there were positives on set, and they had to shut everything down.
Oh wow! If there was one positive, like they didn't shoot at all.
It was very strict, not like how it is right on today's, which I'm so lucky about. But yeah, that was that time where I'd say out of that year, most of the time I just spent waiting.
Oh wow!
Waiting to get called.
What did you keep yourself busy with?
Short. I started thinking.
Yeah. Baking. I'm just making fun because everyone was baking.
Yes, but I'd say I kept myself busy with short films. I got more because again, like I wanted to act, and I still wanted to act, of course, and it helps me a lot also with the stunt work, because they pick actors or stunt performers that could also portray characters in the movies or in the TV series. So I did short films here in London, and I got to know also a little bit the neighborhood and to see parks, and I just body weight training. So I spent my time doing that, and just getting to know the ground a little bit more. Because I had a feeling that like it's gonna take a while, and hopefully if this leads to anything else, then I'll find myself in London more often, which thankfully, thank God, it's happening. So it's great. but yeah, so then we got approved to play the role, and I get the character name 𝗪𝘅𝘀, and I immediately start my investigation to try to find anything about this character.
Right. Like, there's nothing.
So, and then I started, I watched season 1, of course, and I started reading a little bit more and try to get more involved and try to see what is also being a Witcher and what's his like abilities and powers and opportunities that he has in this universe, in this world. So
Did you, after you got the part, did you do any reading or playing the video game or anything else?
I'm not a huge fan of video games, so I didn't play the games, but I love watching the
People
video
play.
game trailers.
Okay.
So the last one that I watched now for The Witcher, I think it's called the Hunt.
Yeah.
They shot this scene in it. Wow, I watched it 50 times a day, and I love it. I love the cinematography and The Witcher like game, especially with like the fights. They have these one takers. One takers is like when you shoot a scene in one take without a cut, and it's shot so cool. Like I can't explain it. You should just go and check it out.
This is the trailer. Okay, I don't play video games either, but I'll definitely check out the trailer.
Yeah, the trailer is short. It's beautiful to watch, and yeah, it gets you thinking as well. You know, like ideas and stuff like that, especially if you're into like action scenes and fights and stuff like that. But yeah, so of course, immediately as soon as I saw that I got the role, of course, then I started to investigate and to see what it is, what's it all about. And yeah, and it was a great opportunity, great experience, and hopefully you'll get a chance to see more of my character in the years to come.
Yeah, you have also, you selected like on your, I guess it's on IMDb, you took all your parts in The Witcher and put them in one clip so you can see it all in one place.
But the reason I did that was because my family, who have zero time, like my brothers and my mother maybe has more time, but my brothers were like, just send me the parts that you're in. So I was like, oh man, you should watch the whole thing. I was like, I don't have any time. So I asked one of the editors, who's a good friend, Nathaniel.
Yeah.
Yes.
I spoke with him already, and I learned that. You know what? When I was watching it today, I was like, I bet you Nathaniel sent that to him because it's like you got the high res, clips. So I was right.
But yes, so he was very nice to send that to me. Thank you, Nathaniel. I'm allowed to say that. So yeah, so I cropped it all in one, and so I sent it to my family members, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. Now I saw you, fantastic. Send me the next one when you get the next movie out or the next series out. So yeah, then I thought might as well have it on Instagram, IMDb, and have it up there on my role, because so far with all of my experience and all of my like working in the industry, I don't have an agent. And I figured also it's time to reach out to agencies and to see and to show them also like the work that I've done and the work that I'm doing. So let's see where that leads to.
Good luck.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. So what was it like on a day-to-day basis on set? I mean, I know like you might be used to it, but like describe it to someone who, let's say, doesn't know anything about what life on set is like. What are the hours? How long do you work there? How much of it is waiting around? What does the set look like? How much of it is, stage? I know the Basilisk scene, like I've seen the behind the scenes where it's like just people in green and everything else is CGI.
Yes, stuntmen in green suits. Those are the basilisks that I was fighting and trying not to laugh at the same time. But no, so I'd say tips or advice: bring a book, bring something to pass the time, because there will be so much time that you'll need to kill, basically. And yeah, and that happened a lot. Like I said earlier, because of Corona, there were times where I got to set and they were so worried about positive people from the cast that they just kept us all in the trailers and just wait. Testing also there was more intense. We had to get tested in the morning and then wait for like 3 hours until it was good
awesome.
to go. Yeah.
Wow.
And then only then we could get into costumes and makeup. Makeup for me wasn't too long because I already had like the long hair, so they just pinned it back and they put the white skin on me with the lines and the contact lens. Victoria, who became a very good friend of mine from that show, and we keep in touch till today. It's much better to have those experiences and to have those times on sets with good people. So if you have a book, fantastic, but if you have a better cast member, then just hang out with them and pass the time. Which I did also with Joel, who also played one of the roles, and yes, also I'm also very good friends with till today from this show. But yeah, it was great. Obviously, the day to day, as I said, it's a lot of time waiting. But when you're on it and you're finally like you're in costume, you're in character, you have your weapons and your double axes and you're ready to go. Even then, when you're on set and you're preparing and you're ready, it's long hours. It's I'd say somewhat difficult for people who have families or even partners or relationships, kids, of course. But it's a sacrifice, I'd say. If you really love it, then it's worth it. And if you find somebody who's willing to, I would say, allow you to do it, but who has your back during, like a partner who is cool with it, then you won. Keep a hold of that one because not a lot of people will be supportive, and that's something that you have to deal with because it's like I said, it's a sacrifice, but it's worth it if you love it and you find the balance between life and work.
Was that hard for you to do? Like, did you feel like you didn't have a life when you were shooting?
Work is my life. So I don't have a problem. Luckily, I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
So,
is that like that phrase, find a job that you love and then you'll never work a day in your life?
yeah, you can say that. Bingo. Yes.
That's amazing. I mean, you're very lucky to have that. That's not a lot of people do.
That's true. And hopefully we all find that eventually. So I am very lucky.
Yeah, that's great. So like, how many times would you do a scene, for example, when you were shooting something, how many takes would you do before like the director was satisfied? Would you have to like do it again and again? Yeah.
There were a few times where we had to do it again. There was one blooper actually with me.
Oh yeah.
It was me and Yennefer. And there was a scene in season 2 where it's after the fight, the basilisks are dead and we kick their asses, and I get cut on my stomach, and Yennefer comes and heals me, and then is meant to like pick me up. And so here was the blooper, because right before we shot that scene, the director asked me to get healed by Yennefer. She puts her hand on my stomach and then she heals me, and then she's meant to turn around and walk away and go heal the rest of the Witchers, and I'm meant to stay put where I am. A very simple task. Yeah? And while this is happening, this is also in the background because Henry and our father were Geralt and what's your name, mate? What was our father's name?
Vesemir.
Vesemir, thank you. Because Geralt and Vesemir, Kim, were having a scene. And so the director asked me to stay put. Anyways, Yennefer comes over to me, and right before the director yells action, she's gonna say, "I'm gonna heal you, and then I'm gonna take your arm, and then I'm gonna take you away." And I'm like, it sounds great, but the director asked me to like, okay, guys, 3, 2, 1, action. So she heals me, and Vesemir and Geralt have their scene, and they start talking. And then you see in the background, she's like trying to pull me away, but I'm staying put. And she was like, what are you doing? Like, come. And I'm like, the director asked me to stay here. So she pulled me halfway, and then she was like, oh, okay. And then she walked away and abandoned me in the middle of the set, where I'm standing literally just looking around. And then the director's like, yells, cut. And I was like, Max, what the fuck was that?
And so
But
that did not make it into the final movie.
no, of course not. No. But then Yennefer just started laughing her ass off and explained the whole situation, really saving me because the director had no idea what I was doing. Like, he told me to do one thing and I did the opposite, which he understood after that. It was miscommunication. But yeah, that was funny. That was a fun time.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I'd say another tip is listen to the director.
Well, it's good that you were able to laugh about it. I mean, I would hope that, you know, something that should be fun, like making a movie, like it's not like high stakes, I'm gonna say. It's not like you're working with, I don't know, saving children's lives or something. So I should think it should be fun, even when you make mistakes.
Yes, yes, that's true. That's true. And that's a saying that I heard a lot. You know, it's not that we're not like, we're not doctors, so it's not rocket science. We're not trying to save lives. And yeah, no, absolutely correct. If you're not having fun doing it, then it's not worth it. Yeah. So have fun, enjoy it, of course, enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride, as you hear everybody saying, which is what.
Yeah, I guess what were other ways that you had fun on set with the fellow actors or crew members?
Fighting an invisible monster, which is sometimes could be very interesting. So I had double axes, actually, which I have, which is very cool. They allowed me to keep.
Brought it back, nice.
Yes, they allowed me to keep 𝗪𝗁𝗲𝗀𝗃 weapons. And
what are they made out of? Because I'm curious, like if it's, you have to adjust for the weight, because I'm assuming they're not actually that heavy as they would be if they were really wooden axe. Like what are the materials made out of?
it's plastic.
Mhm.
But I'd say you're meant to have two types for every like action role out there. So which I had. So you had one weapon which is for the action, for the fight, which is super light and very protective. So it's even more soft than it should be,
Mhm.
just in case accidentally either hit yourself or you hit somebody else. So it's not meant to do any damage.
I can very much imagine like a rebound where you definitely
easily. Just go right in there. But and then you have, like, I'd say like the real one, which is slightly more heavier and shiny, you know, if the light flares on it or something, so it looks realistic. Yeah, so a lot of the swords and the axes, you had like, I'd say like the real one, which is, again, but it's super safe. It's not really gonna cut or slice through anything, but it could hurt. It could hurt. But yeah, so we had a lot of the scenes where me and Joel were fighting like invisible monsters, and we just had to come up with a choreography on the spot, really.
Oh yeah, you're given that latitude to just do whatever you wanted.
Yeah, pretty much. Just start swinging. Because it wasn't, there weren't a lot of scenes. None of us but Nick, I think. Nick was the
guy who got his head chopped off.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Had his head ripped off. None of us but him really had like a one shot directed on us to actually perform a stunt or perform a fight, which hats off to him. He did a fantastic job. It was great. So it allowed me and Joel and the rest to really kind of like just play around in the background and come up with things, even though you hardly see anything. But you'll see it.
I was wondering when I watched it today, I was trying to figure out, there was one Witcher. So Nick got his head like eaten by basilisks. Then there was another one who
So yeah,
there was some, I think it was, okay, so there was someone, I think his arm got cut off and then his head got smashed. That's not Joel, right? That was someone else.
Joel was face off.
Okay, so it was him. Okay, that was like ripped in half, and then after 𝗪𝗁𝗲 saw him, he was like, then he stabbed Ciri.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that was Joel.
Cool.
Yay, Joel.
Claim to fame, my head got ripped off.
Yeah, he wasn't happy about that, but he's a very talented stunt performer and fighter. He comes from a wushu background, which you kind of, I could see. But you can't really see
what is that?
Wushu is a martial art. I want to say Chinese. I want to say Chinese, not 100% sure. He speaks fluent Mandarin.
Okay, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, he lived
Where's
in.
from? Because I like languages, and I I have Duolingo, and like all the Germanic and Latin languages are pretty easy
Yeah.
because of English and like Yiddish. But I tried Mandarin and I was like, I sucked. It was horrible. I was like, I'm leaving it for later.
Oh no. Well, good on you for trying. It's a difficult language, definitely. And he I think he speaks it fluently. Like him and Nick were actually having conversations. I want to say in Mandarin or in Chinese. Sorry, I don't know. Well, you'll meet him, I'm sure, and have this interview with him, hopefully.
Yeah, I think Mandarin is just the main dialect. I think there's a lot of dialects, and Mandarin is the main one.
Okay.
But, yeah.
There you go.
It's impressive. Yeah, my sister-in-law is Chinese, and she was telling me about. I asked her about like how you learn it, and it sounded very, very, very complicated.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yes, yeah. So that was a on set experience, on set time. So yeah, any more questions?
Yeah, I guess what do you guys talk about when you were chilling in between scenes? Like, what did you guys like to converse about?
I mean, it's just as any other like regular chat we have with your mates, with your friends. I think at the time, obviously, like Corona was a big topic, and if they like conspiracies, I guess that was a big thing.
Oh, really? Okay.
But I was very much, it's like vaccines. I'm triple vaccinated, so I think it's a disease which we should take very seriously, because I have it right now, which I'm isolating, and it's allowing me to do things like this, which is fantastic. Thank you again for having me.
Being your entertainment while you're stuck in this room.
Yes. I appreciate it. But yeah, so I think that was a big topic at the time, and yeah, just life in general, just things. Obviously, like first time meeting Joel and Nick and everybody, so getting to know a little bit about their background, pretty much what we're doing right now. We had our interview, and our friendship built from that.
Yeah, since I know for the second season, I noticed there were a lot more like British actors, but even so, like I know Jota's from Portugal, right? And like Nick is probably from China and Joel's from Sweden. So that you did have like an international mix, which I think is interesting. So I know I love to ask people questions about like where they're from and the culture and all that.
Yes.
I don't know if that's your interest, but I know like whenever I meet people from different places, I'm like, tell me all about your culture.
That was very true. Actually, it was very cool that we had such a diverse, and an ethnicity, and the Witcher gang was so different. You're right, Sweden, Chinese, American, British, Israeli. So we kind of joked. I think Chewie had this idea to run by and have each Witcher character kind of like build or design his own background. And yeah, so we were kind of thinking of doing something like that, like obviously like on our free time, and just start thinking of ideas, where each character is really from. So yeah, I'd say that's also in the making, which I think this week I'm going to take advantage of and finally get to work.
Are you going to share it with the producers for whichever characters are still alive to be around?
I mean, yeah, why not? 𝗪𝗁𝗀 is a cool character, and he's got double axes, and I think the Witcher franchise would love to meet him a little bit more.
Okay, so I guess we'll see what this week of rumination, what background it gives him, what you think of backstory you think about for him.
Bingo, exactly.
Yeah, so now I have a couple of questions. I asked people on Reddit like what they were, if they were, about the interview, and I said, what questions would you ask? So they asked some questions I came up with. So would you be friends with the character that you play?
If I would be friends with
𝗪𝗁𝗀𝗪. You, Max, would be friends with 𝗪𝗁𝗀𝗪. Your personalities matched.
Yeah, I think our personalities match. Because then again, like 𝗪𝗁𝗀𝗪, who's an amazing actor and a fantastic person, who I got to meet, of course, and 𝗪𝗁𝗀, obviously, 𝗪𝗁𝗀 Cavill, is a great guy, and really charming and very like a gentleman character, where Geralt is pretty much rude.
Right. Grouch.
Yeah, grouchy with his grunt.
That's actually the biggest thing that surprised me when I read the book. I read the first book, The Last Wish, and I was like, Geralt does not shut up. He just talks and talks and talks, and he gives like, he waxes, you know, about his philosophical opinions about morality, and he just like really talks all the time, and it's very different than the TV Geralt.
Wow, well, look at that. That kind of reminds me of young Vesemir. Have you seen the Knight
of the Wolf?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was chatty, pretty much, much like probably who Geralt is in the books, as you said, as you just mentioned.
Yeah,
but
definitely he matured a lot in the TV series. He was a very, not a very likable character as a young person until the end.
Wow.
Until he finally has some tragedy in his life to make him grow up. In my opinion.
I see. Oh, okay. So there you go. I learned something. So coming back to your question, so I don't have such a like an established character in the show. Like you'll see me there, yes, and you'll see me like physically character. He's present, but you can't really tell
his personality or
anything. Yeah, I'd hang out with 𝗪𝗁. He doesn't talk much, so we would get along.
you could talk and
yeah, exactly.
So speaking, I guess, besides for your character, which other characters, not the actors, which character in the Witcher universe would you be friends with? I'm assuming you've seen the whole show by now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which out of all the characters, who do you think you would like to be friends with? Yennefer. Okay. Because?
Well, I was extremely beautiful. But she came from a very tough, I wouldn't say upbringing. Obviously, yes, upbringing. She was deformed in a way, and she had such a, in all the characters almost, she was like the #1 character who really had like such an extreme transition, who changed her whole history because she was so determined for like a better future for herself. And I find that very like motivating and very respect, because she was a woman who knew what was good for her, and she knew that she deserved, and she was destined and deserving much more than what the universe gave her. And she was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyways, like besides all costs, and she had to sacrifice, and she had to endure such an extreme amount of pain to become this person this character that she was. So yeah, I'd like to be friends with that.
I hear, thinking back to what you said about your mother, does she remind you of your mother? And if that's too personal, but
I wasn't even thinking about that, but yeah, 100%. Yeah, my mother had to go through also such a lot, especially also with her. She would hate me if I spoke too much about her, so I'm not gonna say too much. Love you, Mom. But yeah, so she had to go through a lot also with her upcoming and her life to become the woman that she is, and especially raising us 4 men now, so scattered all over the world and like doing their own thing. So yeah, hats off to men and female of those characters.
Yeah, I definitely, that's one of the things I like about her too. She's a contentious character. I think a lot of people are put off by, I think, a lot of like selfish aspects of her character, but yeah, she's determined, and she knows what she wants, and she's gonna get it.
Yes. Bingo. Yeah,
I also like independent characters. So if you could be another character, let's say you're not 𝗪𝗁, who else would you want to be?
Whew. I like to be 𝗪𝗁𝗀𝗃. I'm kidding.
Were you? I'm assuming you're not like when I put this on Reddit and I asked people like, okay, what questions would you ask? People's behavior with 𝗪𝗁𝗀𝗃 is a little ridiculous in my opinion. So someone wrote this like long, inappropriate question about 𝗪𝗁𝗀𝗃. I'm like, I'm not asking that question. I thought I read it aloud with Daniel and that's it. But anyway, I'm assuming you were not one of those people who's like, oh my God, Henry Cavill, I have to faint now.
I was exactly one of those people. No.
Oh, really?
No. But yeah, no, it was first time meeting him. I met him and his dog, Cal,
Oh, yeah.
who he named after his character in Superman, Cal, which was great, you know, because I love dogs. So I paid more attention to the dog. In Bulgaria, I have a dog. Yes, her name is Pretty. She's a border collie. Obviously flying back and forth for work and being here most of the time. So she's with family in Bulgaria, and she's on a, I'd say like in a very good. She's being taken care of.
Yeah.
She has Tara, Casper, and Daenerys. Yeah, 3 other dogs that she's hanging out with. She's part of like a gang now. Yeah, I was meant to fly back to see her and to see family this weekend actually, but since my positive result yesterday, I cannot. So I'll fly back hopefully during Passover, Pesach, in April. But yes, so back to fainting over Henry Cavill. I mean, obviously, why? Who wouldn't? No, but he's great champ, and it's very good to work with him because he's such dedicated actor as well, especially when it comes to action stuff. Like he loves doing his own thing, and even though he has like a stunt double, which a lot of actors and actresses have, and sometimes a lot of actors don't like to admit that they have, but he's not one of them. But he does perform a lot of his own things, and he comes to work and he puts in the hours and he puts in the sweat with the team. So he's really part of like the stunt team, as well as also being like the lead number 1. So hats off to him. Huge respect for that.
Yeah. So who would you play if you could be any other character?
I'd say young 𝗂𝗍𝗲.
Okay.
Yeah, younger version of 𝗂𝗍𝗲. I think that'd be a very cool role. Obviously, mature 𝗂𝗍𝗲 did a fantastic job, and like I love him. Also, his personality is so different from 𝗂𝗍𝗲.
I saw some interviews with Kim, and he seems like he's laughing all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
He's the loudest guy on set. Like you could hear him like laughing from the other part of town. And it was so cool. It was so cool just seeing him and being on set with us and involved. Yeah, that was such a great opportunity. And he's also a Jewish fellow, and we had lots of chats about Israel and our tribe. And yeah, I love him. He's now in Bulgaria, actually, filming, working there at the moment. So when I go to Bulgaria, hopefully I'll get a chance to meet up with him there.
Nice. Sounds like Bulgaria is the place to be.
Great place.
You know, I've been, since my husband Yoel is from Holland, so I've been to Europe, but mainly Western Europe. And my family is from Eastern Europe, like my grandparents, like great parents, Hungary, Romania, Poland, Ukraine. So I wanted to go there. And then I was like, I was here and I didn't realize how far away Eastern Europe was from, like, let's say France and Germany, where I was. So I was like, okay, next trip.
Oh no. Yeah, right now it's a very popular place for ski resorts. It's sunny. You still have the snow up there in the mountains, which would have been fantastic this weekend to go and try out. But hopefully, when I'm April, let's see if I get a chance to ski this year.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So young 𝗂𝗍𝗲, and I guess, I haven't asked the other Witchers this, but what do you think of the story of The Witcher? Like, what stands out to you as the most important theme, or the thing that you like the most about it?
I love the story of these kids, who get selected to become like these trial and fails. Not everybody survived like the process of becoming a Witcher, and to be one of those lucky few who survived this little torture experiment to become this human monster, I guess. And in order, and like why I was created, why 𝗪𝗪𝗪 or Geralt was created, was to hunt down these monsters of the night, which I find so cool, because it's kind of like you're building a soldier to fight this one-on-one war for the greater good of your people, which are not really your people anymore because you're a Witcher and you're fighting to protect humans.
And they reject you and malign you.
Yes, yes. So I like that idea of you're being created for a reason, and that reason is more than you, because like the idea behind it is to fight for the greater good. The greater good is to, yes, hunt down these monsters and to kill in order to save a life who you don't necessarily know, which is like the idea of serving in the military. You're fighting and you're protecting your country. You don't know everybody who lives in the country, but you're protecting that ideal, you know, that love for your people.
Is that what also appealed to you about action movies? Because I think that's a theme that's present, like good against evil kind of thing.
Yes, you could say that. Even though I was more drawn to villains in action. Oh, yeah. So I found them so much more fun. But yeah, you could say that. Yes, definitely. But now, like seeing and working on season 1 and 2, what happened to like the Witcher, because he's being now hunted down by his own, and he's still like taking jobs and hits for coin. Yes, like he's working as a hitman basically back in the day, and or an assassin. He takes hits or takes what's the word? You take not an assignment, but you take a job, I guess. You take a job for money. So I think that's a story also that we would like to see, and hopefully we'll see in the next seasons, like where that changed, where like the Witcher was created to hunt down these monsters for coin, but where did it change where the humans go against Geralt? Do you remember at the end of season 1, where he had to fight a bunch of his people in his own village? So
you mean in Blaviken?
Blaviken, yes. Yes.
Huh. Is there a particular storyline that you're most intrigued by in like the, let's say, season 2 or season 1? Like I have a particular set of characters and that I like to see them interact. Do you have that, like a particular story that you're interested, or a set of characters that you really enjoy seeing?
I would like to know about yours.
Oh. Mine is well, I was very intrigued by 𝗂𝗅 and Yennefer's scenes together, because I felt like there was, I know it's a little Witcher heresy to say this, but I feel like they a little bit have more chemistry than like Yen and Geralt, because they're very similar. Geralt is a very good guy. Yennefer is a little self-absorbed, and 𝗂𝗅 is also like that. I think they're both like short-tempered. They're both maybe a little selfish, not the like most kind, generous people. And Geralt is like extremely good and always trying to help people, just very like modest and humble and like doing things for others. So I like their dynamic together. I like their banter back and forth. I like that they were very honest with each other, because they're both no holds barred. They're just being very rude to each other all the time. And my favorite scene actually in all of Witcher 1 and 2 was that scene when they come out of the sewer and Yennefer is crying. She's like, what's the point of it all? And you have love, and then it's a wish, and then you have power and it slips out of your hands. And 𝗂𝗅 goes to her, he's like, you were amazing at Sodden. And I'm like, yes, she burnt all of your soldiers at Sodden. So I thought it was hilarious, but also I love that kind of like emotional outbreak. And I like characters with trauma, for better or for worse. That's the kind of person I like it. I find it very intriguing, and I'm curious. They both, obviously, we know Yen does, and I don't know about 𝗂𝗅, but he strikes me as someone who does. So I'm very curious to see if they'll like meet again and if they'll have a connection, which I know they're not going to be end game. Like I know there's nothing to hope for in that direction, but I do like them together.
Okay, copy that, noted. And I didn't think of them two actually as more of like a friendship relationship than anything else, but who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe we'll see it soon.
Well, I think at the very least in the friendship regard, like I hope that their time spent together will influence how they interact in the future. Like if they'll be on opposing sides, like if they'll have some more empathy for each other. And, you know, let's say if they're on sides where like they have to kill each other, but like, oh no, let's not do it because, you know, we want to spend time in the sewer together.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I can't yeah, feel like I don't want to slip anything else out. So
yes, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the TV show is not necessarily going to follow the books 100%. I do know, like, I try to avoid spoilers, but because I like, you know, read people's discussions about it, I had been a little bit spoiled about something in the future. So like in this, that relates to this. So I kind of know that, but I'm like, I'm trying to forget that I ever saw it.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm trying not to be the a Tom Holland thingy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess now, oh, I do have one last question about The Witcher before we get to questions about you and like what motivates you. I remember you wrote on Instagram that you walked for 2 hours in the rain to get to set. What was that about?
I did. That was so again, it was around the time of Corona.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we were shooting out in 𝗪𝗁𝗪𝗁𝗪 Studios, which is like in the countryside,
Mm-hmm.
which I'd say is about close to 2.5, 3 hours out of London by train and transport. And so I rented a place in the neighborhood there, and I stayed out there for the time being. And they had no buses out there. The taxis were not working because of Corona. They had no Ubers.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole team for the transport got sick. So I was literally like, if you have your own car, which I couldn't rent out because I didn't have a license here for the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So either rent your own car or come in with a cast member. Fantastic. I'll come in with one of my guys. But no, they're not allowing two people in a car.
Oh my God.
So I'm literally like, what do I do? So I walked from my Airbnb, from the hotel in the area all the way to set almost every morning. And then on the way back, almost every night.
How long was it each way?
I'd say it was like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours if I want to take my time.
Oh my goodness. After like how long were your days? Like how many hours were you on set for?
Like 10. I was hardly sleeping at that time because it was like 10-hour days and walking back and then walking too. So I maybe had average of like 3-4 hours of sleep.
Next time, sleeping bag at the set.
Yeah, why not? Go back to my military roots. But you can't do that because it rained here constantly.
Oh gosh, well, it's England, right?
Yeah. So in my mornings, like I had to walk in the rain pretty much and get to my trailer soaked.
Oh,
so always had a spare of clothes to change into.
That reminds me when I was and we lived in Memphis, Tennessee for 5 years. And I didn't have a license until I was 27. So not until we moved to New Jersey, not till I had to go to school and I knew I couldn't make it, you know, with timing. So I had a bike, we had bikes and we biked everywhere. So I would bike to college and I first would bike my kids to the babysitter on this, actually, you might know, it's a 𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂 made by an Israeli guy who lived in Amsterdam. So it's a bike that could hold babies and it converted into a stroller. Anyway, so it was a really cool bike. So I biked my kids to the babysitter and I took my regular bike to college, and it's Memphis and it's like 100 degrees and super humid. So I would bike in like whatever t-shirts and I would get to school all sweaty. And then I would just go to the bathroom and take paper towels and soap and like wash myself down and change into like a nicer outfit.
Okay, wow. Okay. Yeah. So you know the feeling.
Yeah, but it didn't take 2 hours. That's a
lot. Bike would have been smart, actually. Thinking back now, why the hell did I just get a bike?
Well, yeah, I would say next time, but hopefully you don't have to do that again. No
more. It was a good experience, a good learning opportunity. But now, hopefully, we're back in a better than a better position. So I don't have to do that. But I still go an hour earlier to set because
to work out at that. Okay. Okay.
Hour early every morning, and I leave with everybody at the same time.
Were there, I guess, last question on the Witcher part, any other stories that are interesting or funny that you have to share?
I'd say lenses was the best part of the part of the gig. Those
Okay.
contact lenses. Well, actually, I met Victoria again, who, as I said, was a very dear friend of mine, and it was my first time ever putting in
Mm,
contact lenses.
yeah, I have lenses, so.
Oh, you do? And now thinking back, Adam Horton, who gave me this amazing opportunity, his one request was, do you have problem with contact lens?
Mhm.
And this is before I knew about 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀 or Witcher or the whole thing. And I was like, I personally, yeah, I did, but I told him no,
Oh, really?
because
Had you
it's
ever worn lenses before?
never, 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 never. I had glasses growing up, but I did
Is it?
LASIK
Yeah.
surgery, and so yeah, I never put lenses in or touched my eye in any funny way. So
Mhm.
as soon as he asked me that question, I was like, yeah, no worries, not a problem at all. Like, I got this, easy. So he was like, okay, cool. So immediately after I hang up the phone, I'm like, how do you put contact lenses? I just asked you. And I just started watching videos of how to put contact lenses. And I'm like, I should probably practice this. I
Yeah.
did. I didn't practice until
No.
I got the set. And thankfully, Victoria, it was a lifesaver. The contact lens department, who were professionals in touching eyes,
Yeah.
they were the ones who put the contacts because they didn't
Mhm.
trust the cast,
Oh, really?
obviously. I never did it. I'd be dropping it everywhere.
That's
So
funny.
yeah, just leaned me back every morning, and she put the drops, and she really put it in so gently, so nicely, like couldn't even feel it.
That's
So
funny.
yeah, that was a great time.
Yeah, I could like I pop them in and out all the time. So like
You're a pro. I'd let you do my lenses. How about that?
yeah, so I guess now it's just some questions about you and what motivates you and stuff. So what drives you? What when you wake up in the morning, like what are you thinking about? What's your overarching goal?
Wow.
Motivates you?
Um, uh, Health. Health
Mhm.
is my number one thing. Healthy and happy. It's healthy and happy have to come together. Um, I try to find roles. I try to find work that also like allows me to use my physicality and to be in shape, I guess, and allows me to stay healthy. Um, like, hats off to Christian Bale, who takes these roles where like he drops weights or
Yeah.
he adds weights. I'm like, wow, that's sacrifice right then and there, which is
Hmm.
respect, because it's not the challenge of stop eating or to eat more. There's that mental aspect that that you have to stop doing something that I've been doing, fitness or training, almost my entire life, and for a role, or for something that I love doing, because I love also the industry. That mental switch that you have to do, I think, is so challenging, so difficult. But
You probably feel like you're destroying your body also.
yeah, yes, 100%.
I
And
once did like an ice cream challenge where I was like, let me see how long I can eat just ice cream for. And I lasted a day and a half because it was like I was so sick and nauseous by the end of after a day and a half. I couldn't. I went back to real food.
oh, good. I'm happy.
Yeah, it was weird. Like I thought what's so bad about eating ice cream? I couldn't. I was literally like sick in bed like after the day and a half because of that, which is weird. Like
Wow. That's a day and a half. Only a day and a
right.
half.
That's it.
Yeah, but yes, your body is your temple. You have to take care of it.
Mhm.
So saying that, if I ever do get a role where I have to like change my physicality or anything, which I think I will accept, um, with certain conditions.
Yeah.
But definitely, we love what we do, so we'll go for it. But what motivates me to continue, um, just just working, just to be involved in this industry, and to be involved with these great people that I get to meet every day, and uh, majority of the people who I get to call, actually friends and family. Those who I consider family, there's a very small, like, close circle which I'm very blessed to have that.
Yeah, very important.
Yes, yes.
Well, sorry, go on.
No, please continue.
I guess my next question was going to be, what gives you joy? Which I think, you're talking about that. But I guess besides for working, what else? What other things are things that bring you joy?
So with also working, I'm also, as I said, mentioned earlier, a certified instructor, fitness and health instructor, and 𝗫𝗵𝗲𝗰 instructor for 𝗬𝗵𝗲𝗃. So that definitely gives me joy when I am capable or I allow to teach or to give more parts of me to a person who's in need. If it's a woman who needs self-defense classes, to try and just, she's not going to be an MMA fighter, that's for sure, but she'll know at least the basic things of like how to defend herself. And same goes for men, of course. I have the men clients as well, which I enjoy training and helping in that aspect, in that part of their lives as well. So yeah, ultimate goal is to live in a peaceful world where we don't have any either terrorist attacks or just attacks in general. And if I can help get that world even as close to that area where people at least feel safe walking the streets, then I'm happy.
That's a good one. Yeah, I grew up with only brothers, and I was the oldest, so we used to fight a lot physically. So I think a lot of things that women have where they're scared of men, like I don't have it, because I grew up always beating my brothers. So like I didn't grow up with this concept that men are scary. Like whatever, I just fight them and I win.
Oh, a little bully.
I was a little bit of a bully, and I apologize to my brothers afterwards. Yeah, I was a very bossy older sister.
How many brothers do you have?
I now have 4 brothers. I grew up with 2. So I'm 32, the next one's 31, the next one's 30. So we were all very close in age. And then the next one is 20. 1 second, I was 9 when he was born. I'm 30, so he's 23, I think.
Okay.
And he actually just made Aliyah to Israel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Respect. Well done.
Yeah, he lives in Nevedania.
Okay, very cool.
And the next one is 11. I have a tiny little brother who is same age as my kids, basically. My daughter's 10 and my son is 9. So he plays with my kids, and he's like annoyed that I boss him around. He's like, "You're not my mother." I'm like, "Okay, but I am like 22 years older than you." So
wow. You have a brother who's at the same age as your son, kids?
Yeah. My mother was pregnant at my wedding without knowing it, and the next brother's wedding with knowing it.
Wow. Well, mazel tov. Well done. Yeah. Very nice.
That was fun. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, the brother after me actually went to the Marines, so he got a lot more physical stuff in his life.
Yeah. My eldest brother was a Marine as well.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Huh. Yeah. So you guys are all. I mean, I don't know all, but 2 of you at least are, into that nice and physical stuff.
Yes. Well, 3. One of them did come back to Israel, and he was in the Navy. But because my brothers were not born in Israel, so they didn't have the need. It wasn't required for them to serve.
Right.
But 2 of us, volunteered. So I went into combat, and my other brother went into the Navy. And my eldest brother went to the USMC, the U.S. Marine Corps in the States. And one of the 4 didn't serve, but he had a very interesting lifestyle. He was a musician. He had a band. He had a singer. He was a singer and a piano player. Then he went into petroleum engineering. And then,
that's very different, like engineering versus music.
Yeah, it's so different. And now he's in real estate development in Germany. So he had a very interesting life. Still has an interesting life. Sure.
That's cool. Yeah, that sounds like me. I switch around and do different things a lot.
Yeah.
For better or for worse.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Yeah, I think it's a little different. I mean, I know it's difficult because you don't build up experience. At least I'm finding it. You don't build up experience in any one thing. So I'm finding that challenging in terms of like, having a job that I think is commensurate with your my intelligence level. But I just get bored too easily, and I can't do one thing for too long. So Anyway.
Thank you for sticking around with this interview.
Okay, I had my attention span is longer than an hour. A couple of years in one field, and then I switch.
Okay, understandable.
That's another story. So what are the most challenging parts about what you do? I guess speaking of challenges.
Challenges. There are, of course, there are challenges.
Walking a lot.
What was that?
Walking a lot.
Walking.
Well,
yeah.
I was just
yes.
thinking, just once.
Walking 2 hours, 4 hours a day. I'd say it's not much of like challenges, but like, yeah, I start my days at 5 in the morning and I finish them at I'd say 9:30 p.m. So it's a strict lifestyle, which I have to be.
And were you naturally an early riser?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I love waking up like before sunrise to get a chance to see it, which I enjoy doing.
I was the opposite way around. I always stayed up until 4 o'clock, then I would go to sleep. But not anymore. Now I'm old now. I have to go to sleep by 11.
You're mature. That's all.
That's fine. I don't think I'm old, but I definitely can't go to sleep so late anymore.
But yeah, so I wouldn't say it's not like challenging, but it's definitely a strict lifestyle, especially with me, because I do put myself in a lot of like strict moments, and sometimes that balance that I was mentioning earlier, sometimes I fall more into that strict mentality, which kind of like allows me to have very specific people like in my life. And yeah, and if you lose that balance, if you don't have that balance, which I'm learning, and I'm going through this journey called life, the same as everybody else here, you could not have those who are close to you for such a long time, which is unfortunate, if you catch my drift.
No, I'm confused.
So like I mentioned earlier, people who have like families and partners, so if you find that person who has your back, and it's more of a team effort and it's a teamwork thing, instead of somebody who is feels like you're putting your life
for them.
Yeah. But if they understand that you're doing this in order for you to build together, then it's fantastic. Yeah, but that's something that you just have to find over time. And I wouldn't say look for it; it'll come eventually. But yeah, so sometimes it could be like a solo trip. I guess, especially jumping from project to project, because one project is going to last a couple of weeks, the other project will last maybe a couple of months. And there are days in movies, which I did a movie in Bulgaria, which was just a couple of days. 𝗪𝗁𝗀𝗀, hopefully will come out with Peter Dinklage, which was fun, extreme fun. But yeah, so you bounce around from project to project, and again, that's not a challenging thing if you do like to travel or you love to see the world, which I do. But you want to have a partner, I guess, or in a relationship, then it could be a little bit challenging.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. Yeah, we have a friend who, yeah, he had a girlfriend that he broke up with, someone he was very serious about, and he said he couldn't spend enough time with her because he was too devoted to his work, which I thought was a questionable decision, but you know, he knew himself and he felt like that was his priority, you know, and he wasn't himself unless he was doing that for, you know, X number of days, X number of hours per day. So, and he knew that she needed more time, which I thought was very sad, but I think it was honest and realistic.
Oh, that's good. At least he was honest and realistic, and he was open enough to tell her this. And I'm sorry to hear that. I apologize for your friend.
Yeah, I mean, his life, his choice, I guess. Yeah, but that's interesting. I hope you find someone who, you know, whose lifestyles are compatible, you know, that you can work it out with.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, eventually, not worried about that. Right now, I'm happy, and I'm doing what needs to be done.
That's good. Okay. So another question, who are your role models, either professionally or personally or both?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay.
Definitely. And it's so funny when I say Joaquin Phoenix because he's not an action character. Like his characters are amazing. And I guess like his most action character was in a Gladiator, where he's playing Julius Caesar. But yeah, Joaquin Phoenix in the acting world, yes, 100%. I love everything about him and everything that he does. I'd say in the action world, Jason Statham.
Okay.
I find very, very. I met Jason Statham once in my life in Los Angeles at the time when I was working for Avi. And
did you faint then?
Sorry?
Did you faint then?
No. I didn't faint for so many celebrities. Maybe a few here and there. But yeah, no, that was I wouldn't say too funny, but I didn't think he knew who I was, like Avi's assistant at the time. So like he went into a meeting, and like he saw me from a distance because I was parking the car, and then like they went into the meeting, and he saw me and he looked at me, and then I was like, hi. And then he looked at me, and he turned around. He just closed the door. Like, oh,
no acknowledgement.
I'm just like a stranger. But then Avi told him inside who I was, and then he opened the door and it was like, oh, hi.
Oh,
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got your personal hello.
Yes, I did. Which was great. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, so action-wise, obviously, the classics like Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, Jet Li, they're the role models of mine who I adore and I love, of course. Life-wise, I say Dwayne Johnson, because his balance is fantastic. Like he has that lifestyle balance and like the business balance and the film industry, which is like all in one. He's killing it.
That's awesome. Yeah, he seems like a happy guy. I mean, I never really looked into him much though, but I'll take your word for it.
Yes. Yeah. Who are yours, if I may ask?
Well, personally, my mother. It's funny to say that. My daughter is 10 now, and we're at the age where we kind of we have a little bit of our fighting. And I remember having that with my mother. My mother and I were very, very contentious for some of our years. And looking back at it, I realized we're very similar, we're very alike. And now I'm like, my mother's like the best person ever. Like the older I get, and the more I ended up, I married someone very similar to my father, and I had like a very similar life trajectory to my mother. So having gone through a lot of the similar experiences that my mother has gone through, I realize what she went through, and I just admire her so much. She was just very, very strong, very responsible. She went from being like a very poetic, artistic, emotional person, and having to step up to the plate and be very responsible, and just kind of putting her personal dreams aside to do what she had to do. And I very much admire that. And she's also like, both my parents they're just kind, they're good, they're intelligent, they're intellectual, they're generous, they're helpful to people. Like we always had a ton of people in our house and guests, and they're just very, very good people. So, I mean, I think that's the most important thing.
100%, 100%. Well, good. Well, respect to your mother, and thank you for me for having such a wonderful person in this world with us.
Yeah. Yeah. I often think about one of the things that bothered me. You mentioned about like having the world be a good place. So, there's lots of things wrong with the world, and you have a limited sphere of influence about what you can control, unless you're either like, let's say, very rich and you can donate a lot of money, or you're somehow have a lot of influence, either you're in politics or something where you actually have a lot of influence. Most people have like a very limited sphere of influence, and that was hard for me to accept because I wanted to like fix the world. But at some point I realized that even if you just are a nice person to those around you, that makes the world a better place for the people that you come in contact with, and hopefully that spreads from there. Like if you make someone's day good, then they make the next person's day good, and they're nice to their kids and their coworkers, and then like spreads. So
Yeah.
you can
Like
make a difference that way.
Yes, that's fantastic. That's a great way of thinking of it. Of course, I agree, and I'm for it.
Yep. So some more questions. What's some of the best professional advice that you have received?
Professional advice that I've ever received. A lot of people might not agree with it, but have, and honestly, I don't even agree. No, I'm not going to say that one. What else? That I ever received, or what I could give. I gave a few. Yeah, bring a book to set.
Right.
Way to pass the time. Obviously, love what you're doing. Trying to think, because then again, you know, when you say like role models, or you have someone who you like look up to and follow up, the people who I was working with were more like in production. All of them told me not to get into acting. That's what they told me.
What was their reasoning?
I'm sorry?
What was their reasoning for telling you that?
Yeah, the production was like the path, I guess, where everybody who I knew, like obviously Avi, Yoni, and good other people that I knew that I was working with. So like what like I have another mate who started off as an actor, but then realized like it wasn't like I'd say the path for him, because he wasn't really getting what he wanted. So he just went into accounting. So he's still working in the industry, but yeah, not as what he wanted to, I guess.
Was he happy doing it?
I can't say. Cause I can't judge, you know. It's like it was his choice, you know, so he has to go through his life, the rest of his life, doing what he chose to do. And like I said, it's a big sacrifice, because it's not built for everyone, and not everyone will get what they wanted. That's life. But I guess as long as you're enjoying the journey, then that's enough. And don't feel like you're entitled to anything, because like nobody's entitled to anything. And nobody owes you anything, really. So just wake up in the morning, show up, do your job, and get ready to sacrifice a lot in order to get what you want. And hopefully you do. I wish everybody the best of luck. So that's my advice to everyone. But the advice that I got wasn't that positive. So hopefully that you take that and run.
Yeah. How about personal advice? Was there any ever any personal advice that you found very instructive that still sticks with you?
I guess just my mother's voice. I say like, just be safe, may𝗍, be happy, may𝗍. And she was always like, she allowed us to do our own thing. She wasn't very like hands-on, which I'm very grateful for, because you know, a lot of mothers, they're clingy, and they try not to let go of their, especially like Jewish mothers. they don't let go of their children. And not that I wanted her to like let me go, and like she didn't care about me at all. She loves us, obviously, but she allowed us to do our own thing, which I'm very, very grateful for, because it allowed me to see a lot of the world, and obviously explore so many things. And so a short time. It's just 2017. This was the beginning of it all. And yeah, and just yeah. Yeah, I don't know where I was leading off with that one, but I guess my mother's voice, and just being safe and being healthy, and just following through.
You know, one of my questions that I had prepared was, did you face any opposition from your family, and you know, telling you not to be an actor? But I didn't even ask it, because I could tell from how you were talking that your family didn't put up opposition. At least that's what I think. It sounded like, you know, your family was like, yeah, sure, great, do whatever you want. Did I read it correctly?
For my mother, yes, 100%. Obviously, because also I didn't really share with her much. So when I left Israel, she knew I was in Florida, but I didn't tell her like I was going to the sheriff's department, or I was getting involved in like the community. Then when Hurricane Irma hit, obviously I didn't tell her, yeah, I'm in a hurricane. I didn't want her to worry. So I was like, well, white lies, basically. You know, what she doesn't know is not gonna hurt her because she knows I'm gonna be safe. So like I don't want to, what's the reason of like stressing her out? She's also in Israel, and yeah, she can't see me. Which I picked up a lot in the military as well. So I didn't tell her what we're doing, obviously, because why? Like just stress somebody out for no reason. Like I want her to sleep well at night. So I told her like I was just navigating. I'm navigating in the forests. I'm in Jerusalem where I really wasn't.
What did you tell her after you were done?
100%. When I saw her, when I was sitting down face to face, I took the plane.
You're like, you're here, you're alive.
Bingo, exactly. So when I was at home, I told her everything, and who I really was and what I really did, because it was important to share. And yeah, knowing that I'm physically there with her and I'm talking to her and she can see me and then I'm safe and I'm well, then I could share. But yeah, white lies got me through a lot. And same goes in the States. When I went to, especially in Los Angeles, she didn't even know like I was in Los Angeles. And when I told her everything that I was doing, she was like, wow, okay, great. So just stay safe, be healthy. And yeah, so when I get to answer to your question, so my mother is very positive, yeah, because I'm only sharing with her when I'm sharing with her. But my father on the other side, no, he wasn't much of that type of person, which obviously you meet a lot of types of him in this industry, or in any industry, you know. All the youngsters out there want to do anything, and you have a person like my father. It's just know when to listen, I guess, and know when to listen and keep it in mind, and know when to listen and just let it out of the other ear, and just move forward. So that happened a lot with my father, and I mean, I love him. Obviously, he's my father. I can't change that, but I can change my time that I choose to spend with him, and what I want to listen to, and when. So
yeah, did it take you a while to learn that? Because I know as kids, usually, you know, you idolize your parents, and you know, you think that everything they say is like God's word.
So luckily, I was the youngest of 4 boys, so I got to see it through each and every one of my brothers. So I picked it up very young. Yeah, very, very young.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. My mother, one of the things she went through, her father was a lot of issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, she definitely, you know, it's interesting because she didn't talk to him for like many, many years. Like I grew up, you know, I didn't have a concept of Saba. It was just my mother's father, who I saw like 5 times. So, but now in his old age, they talk a lot because like she said, she's like, his striot goes in one ear and out the other. And like, you know, she's... And Dad, he mellowed out, you know, now he needs them. So he's nicer.
I see. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's okay. Hopefully everything is okay.
It's as good as it could be, you know, like you can't change the past, but you can just work on with what you have now, you know. He's never going to be like this great guy, but you know, one of the things my mother's good at is like accepting people as they are.
Okay, well, that's beautiful as well. That's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So is there like one line that kind of is your guiding philosophy to life? Like if you could say it's something that like epitomizes you, there's like one line, that's my thing.
Memento mori.
Okay. Sorry. I mean, momento is like a moment and mori is dead. So
memento mori basically means that no matter what you do in your life, I mean, obviously I'm interpreting it in my own words. I don't know the exact like one for word, but I think that's the beauty also behind it. It's philosophy. So memento mori basically means that no matter what you do in your lifestyle, in your life, and your days here on earth, eventually you are going to die. And you're not going to get out of this ride alive.
Right.
So might as well make the most out of it. And yeah, coming back to what you said, just changing the world, right? Just being nice to one another, which I think is so easy to do. It takes more muscles to be angry than to actually smile. So and yeah, and hopefully like everybody finds what they love to do, and if they're capable of doing it, you know, if they can, then they should just go for it, right? Because yeah, you're not gonna get out of here alive.
Yeah, I'm definitely a big believer in that. I was looking at the Instagram of Sabrina, who's one of the witchers, sorry, the witches, not the witcher. She has like orange hair. I forgot her name in real life, but she's like the orange-haired witch. And she said that she was, I think her dad always used to tell her, you know, why can't it be you? Like, if you look at all these people and like, you're like, oh, I want to do this. And like, they did it. Why can't it be you? You could do it.
That's true. That's 100%. Why not?
Yeah, very, very much a believer in that. And I guess last question is, what do you want to achieve professionally or not, like before you die? What do you want to get done?
I want to work every day of my life until I can't. that was my New Year's resolution. I say 2 years ago, and so far I've been very lucky. So yeah, just continue working and continue exploring many movies, maybe TV shows, and getting to work with some great actors that I will work with.
Yes,
I said that. I remember saying this with Michael Fassbender, because he played Stelios in the movie 300. And I remember watching that movie and watching that scene where he's jumping on, obviously, Gerald Butler's stunt double, because he didn't step on, I don't believe he stepped on Gerald Butler, but there's a scene where Stelios, played by Michael Fassbender, he jumps on Gerald Butler's back, playing, you know, the Sparta. And he jumps on his back and gets into this stab. Like, he flies in the air and he stabs this Persian soldier. And seeing that part and seeing that character, I'm like, I want to work with Michael Fassbender. and it happened on Kung Fury. So I was very lucky about that. And then watching Superman, obviously, I was fantasizing about working with Henry Cavill, and then boom, Witcher happened. So I've been very, very blessed to pushing through and following through and hoping. Obviously, hope is a big part of also us being Jews. Hope. I was
just about to say, like the 𝗪𝗁𝗀𝗀 line, if you will it, it is no dream, right?
Yes, exactly. Come on. And yeah, so that's my goal, is to continue hoping, continue wishing, and working with some great people on this world, and hopefully I get to do it.
Awesome. Thank you to my current patrons: Susie, Lady Libris, Lily, Jenny, Molly, Veronica, Emily, Joe, Rochelle, 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗀, and Rose, Alexa, Misty, Joanne, Imelda, Esther, I'm watching people, Emily, Jane, Jen, Erin, Kay, Lily, Beckett, Staranda, Christine, Sadie, Kelly, Teresa, Mrs. Nostalgia, Jen, Tatiana, Louisa, and Rachel. Your support is truly appreciated.